Welcome to Sharp Knife Shop's Versus series, the YouTube series where I, Gage, take two different shapes of Japanese knives and compare them against each other in the hopes that it will help you decide which knife is best for your personal usage. In today's video, we're going to be comparing the Gyuto to the Bunka, and we'll be using the following 5 criteria to do so. First will be the up and down, push and pull chopping motion. Second will be the rock chopping motion. Third, tip work. Fourth, slicing. And fifth, the coolness factor. All of these different criteria will help us determine which knife is best for which certain task and hopefully help you decide which one is right for you. So let's get into it. The first of 3 cutting motions we're going to talk about today is the rock chopping motion. And for this category, we have to give the edge to the Gyuto. This is because the Gyuto has this beautiful, natural, and gradual curve from the heel all the way up to the tip. This curve is going to allow you to use the natural sort of motion of the knife as it contacts the board to use that rocking motion. Now, it should be noted that the Bunka can certainly still be used in a rocking motion, and you will notice that this one has a very slight curve from heel to tip as well, though it is certainly not as curvy as the Gyuto. Another point we should make is the length of the Bunka is certainly going to make rocking slightly more difficult, because if you're using a pinch grip, you don't have a ton of blade there to use that rocking motion, so it gets a little bit tight there. It should also be noted that the pivot point on the Gyuto is going to be closer to the tip of the knife here, which is going to allow you to get the knife up further off the board and allow you to rock over larger ingredients. So once again, the edge going to the Gyuto. The second cutting motion we're going to talk about is the up and down, push and or pull chopping motion. And for this category, we have to give the edge to the Bunka. A lot of what we said about the Gyuto in terms of the rocking motion is what's going to keep it from winning the point on the up and down chopping motion. What you want when you're using your knife in an up and down chopping motion is a very flat blade. This is going to allow you to make really good contact with not all, but a good majority of the edge of your knife and keep you from getting those little stuck together pieces of like bell pepper or whatever you're chopping that can be super annoying, and which will happen when your knife is super curvy like this, because you're not making a lot of contact with the edge of this knife to the board. Now, again, we're speaking very generally here. There's lots of Bunkas that are very curvy and there's lots of Gyutos that are very flat. So take that into consideration. But again, generally speaking, the edge for up and down chopping goes to the Bunka. The third chopping motion that we're going to talk about is not a chopping motion at all, but a slicing motion. And for this, we have to give the edge to the Gyuto. Again, very similarly to what we talked about for the rock chopping motion, the length of the Gyuto is going to help it win this point. You certainly can slice with a Bunka, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult because you've got less blade to work with, meaning you're not going to be able to make those super long drawing strokes that you would be able to make with a Gyuto, meaning you're going to have to kind of saw through the protein or whatever it is you're slicing, which obviously is not what we want. So because of the length of the Gyuto, the edge for slicing goes to it. The fourth category we're talking about is tip work. Now, again, like we've kept saying, these knives are both great at tip work, but the edge is going to have to go to the Bunka. And that's mostly because of this K-tip or reverse tanto tip that we have on the Bunka, coupled with the relatively flat profile of this part of the knife. Now, when we compare the tips of both of these knives on the board, you'll notice that neither make a ton of contact right at the tip, but it's hard to argue that the Bunka does not make more contact at the tip, which is obviously going to help us when we're doing tip work. So what we're talking about here is like brunoise shallots, brunoise garlic, anything where you're kind of using just the tip of your knife to do, and you're trying to make really precise, intricate cuts. Obviously, having more contact on the board for the tippy part of your knife is certainly going to help. Also, this K-tip is going to give you a lot of travel for your guide finger. So again, when you are using that up and down chopping motion towards the tip, it's certainly advantageous to have a little extra steel there. Gives you a little more comfort and a little more control over that part of the knife and makes it feel less like you're gonna shave a piece of your finger off, which is obviously not a lot of fun. So for the intricate tip work category, the edge goes to the Bunka. Our final category is the coolness factor. Now, this is a very contentious category. In a previous videos where we've compared Bunka versus Santoku and Kretsuke versus Gyuto, we were told we were wrong in regards to our choice for the coolness factor. And I assume that today will be no different. So the edge for the coolness factor goes to the Gyuto. Now, both of these knives are super cool, obviously. Would you be happy with both of these? I'm sure. Would I be happy with both of these? Absolutely. But the coolness factor has to go to the Gyuto because it's just a bigger knife, and bigger usually means better, I guess, is the decision we came to. I guess you just look more badass with, and badass is kind of a synonym for cool, right? So a bigger, more badass knife just looks a little cooler. It was a tough one to do. I kind of was leaning towards the Bunka. Jake was leaning towards the Gyuto. Jake wins. Tell him why he's wrong down in the comment section. I hope you guys really liked this video. We had a blast making it for you. If you have any other points that you wanted to add to this comparison in the comments, we would love to hear from you. Otherwise, leave us a like if you liked the video, subscribe to our channel for more knife-related content, and until the next one, stay sharp.